everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Closers Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Mark Alvarado, and joining me, as always, is Quinn the Mood Dog Kalani. Quinn, we have a very spooky episode for the people this week. Would you say?
Yeah, I would agree. A very spooky time. Our guest this week is, of course, Terrell Tucker back with us.
Yes, sir.
What's up, man?
He's going to be giving his 2 cents into the creep show machine.
Yeah, there's a lot of spooky goings on, whether that be political, whether that be social, whether that be, scientific. There's a lot of things that people can get kind of scared about, but what we're going to try to focus on this episode is just some more lighthearted things, a little bit more things in terms of, some Halloween themed stories, some Halloween themed tall tales that we have heard over the years, maybe. Terrell, I know that it's been a while since we've talked, so I just want to start. How have you been?
I've been good, man. I just recently had a birthday this past Friday.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate it. I say just hit the big Steph Curry 30. So
dang.
I'm in a whole new realm of ageness, man. I'm in the threes now, so I gotta do this one different than how my 20s was, which I'm not saying my 20s wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. But only can move forward. So
I feel
Would you say it was scary?
Going into 30?
Sure.
Not really, man. Like, honestly, the way I feel I don't even feel 30. I don't know how it's supposed to feel like, but I feel good.
You don't feel more mature, more ready to take on life's, adversity or anything like that?
Honestly, brother, I think that comes with a mindset over age.
Right.
I would say obstacles that I've been through my 20s, and before that, even in my teens, it kind of like already set me up objectively to think, I guess, beyond the average, teenager or 20-year-old. So, I feel great, physically, mentally. I feel like I'm still sharp and still determined, still hungry, and what do I want to do, what I want to go for.
Yeah.
And don't really have any, I guess I would say, idea of settling for the moment or settling for anything. Just still going forward.
Nice. Now, I know that you started a podcast. I don't think you've been on since you started it, called Let It Breathe. And right, that's the name of it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Let It Breathe. Right now I have 3 episodes that are out. As of recently, just because of work, things have been kind of hectic, kind of going crazy. Then I have my vacation time lined up. So with that, of course, I'm going to be pumping out another episode, and still working on music. I actually want to try to at least record, I would say maybe like 5 songs.
Nice.
I wouldn't say necessarily completely have them done, but at least get the recording part of it done within that vacation time.
Nice.
Try to be productive in some sort of way.
Yeah, that's awesome. What has been the biggest takeaway from your experience doing the podcast so far?
It's just like music, but the thing about music, especially hip hop, is so the attention span of it is so fast. So, or just, I would say, like, for instance, with a hip hop song, you could drop a song today and it'll be old by tomorrow.
Yeah.
And nowadays, but with a podcast, it's different. But there's so many people out there that does it where you just have to stay on top of your material and push it out. Another thing would just be trying to find a good topic. I think I kind of like overthink a lot of like, what should I talk about? Is this good enough? Is this kind of like eye catching or ear catching? So it kind of make me operate in a different, or make me look at things in a different approach than music does,
Right.
which is still cool. I like that challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, you're definitely a natural host. So I haven't been able to give you props. This I know this isn't face to face, but this is about as close as face to face as we can get right now. So I just want to give you props.
Right.
Like from the episodes I've heard, it's great, and I just can't wait to see what comes next with that project.
Hey, appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Of course.
And you guys still doing the thing too, man. Representing. I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, we're trying. We're trying our best. So I know there's been a lot of things that have happened since we talked. Most notably, at least between you and me, like our circle, because Quinn doesn't really pay attention to this sphere of sports, but basketball ended. The NBA Finals came and went. The Lakers beat the Heat. What did you think about that series and the overall bubble experience?
I will say Jimmy Butler is a pit bull.
Yeah.
This dude is a monster. What we got to see from him, unfortunately, it sucks because Bam was injured most of the time. Dragic didn't come back until like last game. Yeah. So all that weight was on Jimmy, but shit, Jimmy stepped that game up, yo. Like, for what he did with the talent that he has around him, Duncan Robinson is a nice dude. Has nice skill set. Of course,
that
Tyler Hero
looks like Duncan Robinson looks like a fucking cartoon character, dude. Like he doesn't look
Sheen.
Like a real guy. Yeah, like Sheen from Jimmy Neutron.
Sheen. Yeah. They were actually calling him Jimmy Neutron, the Lakers bench. I was reading that. It was just pretty fucking hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
But yeah, man. And it's I forgot who I heard it from, but some guy was telling me that what Jimmy Butler did in the bubble is what Bron does on a nightly basis. Because a lot of people are like hyping up Jimmy, saying that, oh man, he's the GOAT now. He's better than everybody. But it's like,
I don't know about that, but
Brian steps out on the floor getting a triple double.
Yeah,
like any point in time.
He proved that he's still the best player in the world. But Anthony Davis also proved that he was ready to take that next step too. So, I mean, it was telling. But I'm a Celtics fan, so I hate seeing Lakers fans on Twitter and stuff just being all like, fucking, just they're like reveling in their championship, which is fine. I get it. But when they say that they won their 18th championship or their 17th, I think, their 17th.
Yeah.
That kind of rubs me the wrong way because it's just like, your first 5 were in Minneapolis, and the best player on that team doesn't even have his number retired from the organization on that team that won 5 championships. So it really doesn't feel like.
By the way,
it was it George Mikan? Yeah, he was like from the 50s, dude.
Oh yeah, he played around the time of what like Bill Russell and.
Yeah, it was before Bill
all
Russell.
Those guys.
It was like the very, very Bill Russell came in. He was drafted in, I believe, 60 or 59, and that was like the end of his career, George Mikan's career, and George Mikan's number hasn't even been retired by. He was drafted in 56. Bill Russell was drafted in 56. Mikan retired in 59. So. They never even retired his number. So to me as a Celtics fan, it's like, if you don't even retire your best player's number who gave you 5 titles and you've done everything you could to separate yourself as an organization from Minneapolis, it's like, I don't know if you really won those titles. I don't know if I could count those. So
I guess they're saying it doesn't mean shit if it's not purple and gold. Say it was blue and gold.
Yeah, basically. And also, if you like outwardly don't acknowledge the best player who won you those 5 titles, I mean, you yourself are saying that you don't really acknowledge that time period, but you want to cherry pick. You want to take the titles, but you don't want to acknowledge the guy who got you there. So, congratulations on your 12th title, Lakers. That's how I feel about it.
I think it was what's his name? Pat Riley. He just recently came out and said that the Lakers championship has an asterisk beside it.
Oh yeah,
I
I don't know
haven't
about that.
I didn't read too much into it. I just saw like the title of it, but I didn't get to fall into the clickbait. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I don't really believe that. I mean, those guys still played a hell of a game in the bubble. I
yeah.
mean,
No, they did
you
great.
just have to you just have to factor in certain things, like of course travel and
Yeah.
home in a way. But other than that, it was still basketball.
And the thing is too, it's like, okay, so what? If they have to play in a bubble for the next 2 seasons, every playoffs, does every single championship for the next 2 seasons also get an asterisk? Like
Right.
at that point, I don't think so. Like that doesn't make sense. You can't just give asterisks out. I mean, at that rate, you can give an asterisk to the Toronto Raptors championship run because Clay, Steph, KD all got hurt on the Warriors. Like if they wouldn't have gotten hurt, they would have beaten the Raptors in like 4 games. But I mean,
Just a little salty. He didn't get to beat the guy that brought him 2 ships.
yeah.
It's okay. It's okay, Pat. We still love you, baby.
So before we move off the basketball talk, how do you feel about your Knicks next season?
What did they do, man? They have Leon Rose as the president,
Oh yeah.
which is they're going for the I don't think Sam Presti was an agent, but I know I might be chopping his name up, but Masai Ujiri, I
Oh
think that's
yeah.
his name for
Uh-huh.
the Toronto Raptors. He was an agent turned GM or
Yeah.
president or whatnot. So they're going
Right.
for the same approach with that. And then they have Tom Thibodeau, which from
Oh, I forgot you
I
guys
guess a
got Tibbs.
development standpoint, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool because I mean you had MVP Rose, Jimmy Butler, but
Yeah.
how many of those players do you get that are like dogs like that want to go out there and rip somebody face off?
Yeah. I just think Frank Ntilikina is about to go off for you guys. I don't know. I just really like how he plays defensively. He's really like
Mm-hmm.
tough, and I feel like that grit that he brings, he has to kind of put his foot down and become kind of more of a leader.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, like little Frankie, man, he has defense. I think he could be if he could get a shot down pack, he could be a really good two-way player.
Yeah.
When he was playing over in FIBA, um, I think that's what they call it, overseas basketball league. But
Uh,
I think during the summer one year he was averaging like 14 points, 5 assists, or something like that.
right.
So if he could translate that back into the system of what they have, then I mean, you'll have your point guard. Of course, RJ Barrett, what he did at Duke was crazy.
Yeah.
And then Mitchell Robinson, like led the league in blocks. But, where he falls is he falls for the bait a lot.
Yeah.
Pump fakes, that's his kryptonite. The
Yeah.
dude will jump out the window if you just raise one hand up. Like, bruh, stop.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I know that they were saying that the season might start on December 22nd. That's the proposed date that I've heard recently, which is pretty soon. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, we haven't even had the draft yet for next season. We haven't even had. I mean, obviously, there's not going to be a summer league. I feel like it's really rushed if they're going to start in December, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I can't complain. I love basketball.
Yeah.
I can't cut the check. Hey, so play for me. I want to see it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think Adam Silver said something about 72 game season instead of course 82 game.
Oh, just 10 less? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Which is gonna be weird trying to cram pack it all.
Yeah. I was hoping for a 60 game season myself. I feel like even 72 is a little too much, but I mean, you got to
Mm-hmm.
start somewhere. Let's talk about what we're here to discuss. I just want to check in with you guys real quick before we jump into swapping some stories. We love to share some stories from our past. I mean, that's what we all kind of do whenever we hang out on episodes and stuff. So it is Halloween this week. This will come out on Wednesday, and Halloween is, I believe, on Saturday. Are you guys doing anything for the holiday?
No plans here.
No, of course not.
Why not?
Because it's impractical. We're in a global pandemic.
You're not even gonna like wear a costume just in your
Civil
room.
responsibility.
Not gonna
Civil responsibility.
You're not gonna paint your face and just like sit on your bed and watch like scary movies by yourself or something.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll watch some scary movies.
What's your favorite scary movie, Quinn? Do you have a favorite one?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know. I mean, that's a big question. I mean, there's so many different subgenres within the horror genre.
Could just be your current one, like maybe not.
I'll say
yeah.
I'll say recently I watched 28 Days Later. I watched that the other night, so
Oh, I forgot that movie was even a thing.
that's something I'm a fan of. Apparently, Marco, is indifferent about it.
What
about you?
Forgot.
Did you have? Well, what's your opinion of it?
I don't have an opinion. I've never seen it. I just forgot that it was like a movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you kind of led me on to believe you had saw it and then was just like trash.
Oh no. I don't know. I don't have an opinion. I just remember it was a big movie back in the day. Like it came out like early 2000s, right?
It's amazing. Yeah, by Danny Boyle,
Yeah.
same guy who did Trainspotting, Sunshine.
Yeah.
Movie with James Franco where he's a climber. He has
Oh.
to cut off his arm.
Yeah.
What was that 28 hours?
Yeah.
128 hours.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
movie is
yeah.
intense as fuck, dude. Jesus. Talk about scary. That is a pretty
Yeah.
scary movie just from the standpoint of like, imagine if that happened to you.
Well, here we go. Here's how we should do it. Why don't we go around and say, what do you look for in a scary movie? What scares you guys in a horror film?
I feel like I've talked about it before, so I'll let Terrell go first.
I will say what doesn't is I think like the whole like exorcism religious kind of stuff is like got outplayed hella quick.
Right.
It was like here and there, you had the the Exorcist and some other off movies, but that doesn't really do it for me. But I really don't know what kind of like creeps me out. Like it's nothing that's really gory. Like I don't know. I was a person that watched all the Saw films, which I mean they didn't make me feel any kind of way. It was gross as fuck, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
oh shit, this is scary.
Yeah.
I will say a movie that I think was a really great scary movie that one of the best scary movies I've seen in a long time was Hereditary. That actually creeped me the hell out.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole movie lingo for it, so maybe Quinn can like decipher, maybe pick some stuff out. But I know it's a slow burn, and when you get maybe like halfway through it, the movie takes an entirely different direction than if you watch any other trailers.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, we're going this way now.
Yeah.
And that about the time the end happens, like where they're all in the house and crazy shit start going down. Homie is standing in the doorway,
fucking naked,
butt booty butterball naked. It's like it's like that creeped me the fuck out. I would say that creeped me out. So
yeah,
that and also like The Witch was kind of like really like eerie and creepy too.
Very psychological then.
Yeah,
very psychological horror type of stuff where they get to.
I'd say those two movies fall within the same category as The Exorcist, kind of a supernatural films with religious undertones.
Yeah, because it did have it, at the end. Yeah. Especially when he went in the treehouse, it was like, we got the whole code up here, baby. Let's go.
Out of nowhere too, they just like show up. It's like, where did you guys even come from?
They were all at the funeral too at the beginning of the film.
Yeah. Creepy motherfuckers, dude. God, that movie fucking. Oh my god.
That's the worst. That's one of the best horror movies of all time, and one of the worst stoner movies of all time.
Oh no! That's one of the worst.
I had a horrible anxiety attack while watching that. I saw it by myself at Delta Shores.
Really?
Yeah, it just completely loose the goose, and it just shattered my brain.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went on a date and we saw that movie. It wouldn't. It's
nice.
Not really the best date movie, but she was really cool, and so it really worked out. Like we both really ended up liking the movie because it was just kind of our thing. But like it was just really funny how the memes that came out of Hereditary just like took over the internet for a good week. Like the scene where the girl gets her head chopped off by the pole.
Right.
She's like sticking her head out because she's having like that crazy reaction to like eating the nuts.
The allergy.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up The Witch, because The Witch is a super dope movie.
I have not seen that yet either. I'm not a very big horror person.
The Witch was made by the same guy who wrote and directed The Lighthouse, so.
Right. That is dude,
like
that's a fucking scary movie. The Lighthouse? That's a fucking freaky movie. Terrell, you got to see that.
I've seen The Lighthouse.
Have you?
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh.
Who's in that?
Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson.
Oh, that movie. Oh yeah, I've seen that movie. Okay. I mean, I didn't think that was scary. I thought it was like really confusing. I mean, I didn't understand it. Mermaid pussy. Say that. but it was a very interesting movie. It's one of those movies where I could say, like, I don't know how to rate it. I wouldn't even rate it. It was just a piece of art that you could just sit there and appreciate.
Yeah. I guess for me, scary is synonymous with suspense and anxiety inducing. And if a movie can bring out that anxiety from me, then I consider it a scary movie. So like The Lighthouse maybe doesn't have the most like scary imagery, but just the pacing, the music, everything it was able to do, it was just very successful in bringing that specific feeling out.
What character did you relate to the most in The Lighthouse?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson or the seagull? Oh, okay.
The seagull?
Yeah.
The one-eyed seagull that got smashed.
No, I don't.
Robert Pattinson is who you relate to most?
Probably, I'd say. You're supposed to relate to him. That's the whole point. You're supposed to go through the emotions that he's feeling. That's the whole point of the movie. So you see it through the eyes of Robert Pattinson. You don't see it through the eyes of anybody else.
I say maybe this is just my opinion, but I feel like a scary movie really doesn't stick, or maybe the scare factor really doesn't stick if you watch it outside of a theater setting. So like Hereditary for me was like super fucking creepy because I was like right there in that moment. So was The Witch, but I watched those movies outside of it and it was like it still had those same elements.
I feel that.
I know of two movies that I watched, horror movies that I watched outside a movie theater that stuck with me. But I was much younger, like mid 2000s. So, I'm an impressionable, whippersnapper at this point in time. I watched The Ring in Memphis at a I can't remember if it was like a funeral or something.
What? You watched it at a funeral?
No, it was like a familial celebration of a life that had passed. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
And it was like a weekend event.
I'm about to say, for one, that should be scary because you was watching it in Memphis itself, and Memphis has some. If you haven't been to Memphis, then I mean, yeah, bro, that's a city of a scary movie. That's a whole setting right there.
Is it? Is it scary? Is Memphis like eerie?
No, it's not really eerie, but it's I'll say ratchet would be one way to describe it. I mean, it's hood as fuck.
But there's also like there's a really high end part.
Sure, yeah.
And it gets more towards the Mississippi side. So it's a place called Germantown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Okay.
And I watched The Ring, and it was very impressionable. I think because The Ring is about watching something on a television.
Yeah.
And I was watching it on a television. It kind of resonated with me.
And it makes you think, like, wait, the tape, is this the tape that they were like?
Exactly, because they show it to you in the movie. Yeah. And then the second time, at an even younger age, I was in Gracie, Kentucky, which is outside Hopkinsville by like 20 minutes.
The little green man.
Yeah. And I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, yeah, that is
the one.
Which one?
You remember the one with Jessica Biel from from Seventh Heaven.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually
Back in the
like
day.
that one, man.
That was the first remake they did of it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Yeah.
dude, and it was kind of legit. It was kind of
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah, for real. Like the scenes that they shot in that. I like the sheriff. The sheriff was fucking.
Yeah.
Oh
I
god.
watched it. I watched it in a double wide. Just a little trailer out in the middle of nowhere
Oh shit.
in the woods. So I was like, but it was horrifying. It was horrifying. There was like a stretch of like a long gravel driveway that went from my cousin's to my grandmother's, and at night there would just be darkness
Oh.
because we're out in the woods.
Mhm.
So holy dude, it was scary.
Oh yeah, I can
It was
imagine.
scary.
Yeah. The last.
You see a lot of houses out there that resemble the house in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh really?
Shout out to the homie Leatherface.
Yeah, they're doing another remake. They just announced.
They are.
Of Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
How many remakes
God,
have they
I know.
done?
I
They've
think
done
I've seen
so
the
many.
most. I think I've seen the most recent one. I think they had like. Who they have Trey Songs in it or Usher or somebody like that in there. Oh god, it was trash. It was hot
Trey
dumpster fire
Songz.
garbage.
What the fuck?
The one with Jessica Biel's pretty dope though.
Yeah, that one, that first remake was fire. I love that one. I can't lie.
Right.
What do you guys think of
But I think-
Jeepers Creepers?
Jeepers Creepers. I remember it.
I remember that one, the first one. Yeah, I rock with the first one.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. At the very end, Jeepers Creepers, how'd you get those peepers? And then you see old boy's like face stretched out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that was like the first scary movie that I watched that didn't scare me. So I liked it a lot because I was like, oh, I'm pretty young. I was like 7 or 8. And I was like, this movie's not scary. Like, it's just not scary at all. It's just a movie with like
Can you
horror
guys
subject matter.
Can you guys rattle off some of your favorite horror films? Like, what are some go-to horror films?
Go to.
What are some classics? What are some classics?
Oh, I have
Like,
a ton of. I have a.
If you had to if you met someone from a different country or maybe even a different planet, and they approached you and they said, "Tell me about this horror genre that scare you." So, what would you present to them?
Probably
As
my silver screen collection of monster movies from like the back in the day, like the 40s.
all right,
So like Dracula, you got Frankenstein, you got Wolfman, you got
this is all Boris Karloff stuff, right?
you got the Invisible Man, you got the Creature from the Black Lagoon, you have Phantom of the Opera, but Phantom of the Opera from 1928, not the fucking stupid remake they did in the 40s. That's a piece of shit. You want to get
Not the one with Gerard Butler either, huh?
No, not that one either. Jesus Christ, no. You want the one with the dude who, like, you just the imagery alone, like that face, that fucked up face from the 1929 version. Yeah, like that. That dude. That guy.
Yeah.
And then you want Nosferatu, of course, because, like, for nothing alone other than just the creepy ass imagery. Like, yeah. Those for me would be the ones that I would show people personally.
Nice. That's pretty cool that you chose an entire you pretty much chose an era.
I love that era. I grew up watching those movies. I would watch those movies all the time when I was a kid. Yeah.
Right. I haven't seen let me see. I have the Dracula. I've seen I love the Invisible Man, the OG Invisible Man.
Yeah. That's a good
Not
movie.
the one with Kevin Bacon.
No. The OG one, we're talking about the same one, right? Where like it opens in a snowstorm and he runs into a pub.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Creature from the Black Lagoon, I think is the funniest one out of them
It's
all.
a goof. It's a goof fest for sure. Yeah. A lot of those are goof fests, and that's why I like it too, because it's just so goofy. Like, compared to today's standards, super, super goofy. Same with like the Abbott and Costello meets like the Wolfman. Abbott and Costello meets. Yeah. Like, those are crazy. And then it's like there's ones where it's like Frankenstein versus the Wolfman versus Dracula, and it came out in like 55. Like, they were just trying to get as much money as possible, and the narratives are so shit, but they're just so, it's just crazy to see like how all they were like doing what the MCU is doing now, but just back then with like monster movies. Like they were just like crossing over
Right.
all these storylines and shit. It was crazy.
They tried to redo that recently with Tom Cruise's latest Mummy, and that
that was trash. Yeah,
that turned into a rotten egg real quick.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp was supposed to be the Invisible Man. That actually might have been kind of, I don't know.
Really? They came out with an Invisible Man movie recently.
Yeah, I know, but originally they had an idea that Johnny Depp would be the Invisible Man.
Oh my god. Yeah, because they start with Frankenstein. They started with like a Frankenstein movie, and it was just shit.
Talking about the one with Two-Face?
I think so.
No, that wasn't like part of that canon monster universe.
Okay.
The first one that was part of that official canon was Tom Cruise's Mummy.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Pretty bad. Terrell, what about you? What movies would you like point people to, or aliens if they came to the planet?
Would you count? I was trying to look up the name of it. Would you count Silence of the Lambs as a scary movie? Or that's more
I would count it.
psychological?
Yeah,
Sure.
fuck yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like
It puts the lotion on its
skin.
skin or else it gets the hose again.
Definitely Silence of the Lambs. The Shining.
Would you fuck me? I fuck me. I fuck
God,
me.
dog. Like, I just like the whole scene in Silence of the Lambs. Soon as Clarice meets him and he just fucking observes her for like a couple seconds and break her entirely down, just psychologically. And it's like, oh shit, that is.
Oh, you mean when she first meets Hannibal Lecter?
Yeah, like that's the most gangster scene I ever seen in almost any movie. Like how you just break a character down like that. Like
she as soon as she's leaving, some dude throws his fucking noodle on her, dog.
Yeah, dog. skate.
Yeah, it's a hardcore fucking scene. It always makes me wildly uncomfortable.
I will say this. I have to rewatch it. I don't know if it's still gave me the same scare factor, but I remember this was back in the day when I maybe our second year I started smoking. Some of my homies was watching The Evil Dead. And I didn't know what it was at first, but I just know we was hot shit. And when of course they opened the book, stuff started happening. An old girl gets penetrated by a tree,
the tree.
Yeah, like
you get the camera like whipping through the forest.
Yeah, it was for a moment. I was like, I had to like take a break. I was like, oh yeah, all right, bro, all right, breathe, dog. Like,
dude, it's intense.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's some more close to modern day kind of classics. Maybe I don't know. Maybe some people may like the Alien films. I don't know if you would classify that as kind of a scary film or not.
The first one, yeah. The first one, yeah. The second one's a bit more actiony.
Yeah, true. I will say this, in a theater setting, I would say if you want kind of sort of like a jump scare, Paranormal Activity, the first one was like something different. Even though the story wasn't all that, but as far as like just jump scare, it was like, oh, okay.
Where she goes to the camera.
I remember bitch got dragged down some stairs. I'm just saying, like
Yeah. Paranormal Activity was pretty crazy back in the day too.
Then they milked it for like 17 films and
right. I remember that was like a huge thing because I just entered middle school when that came out, and everyone, like, if you weren't cool unless you went to go see Paranormal Activity. And so I went and saw it, and it was insanity. It was fucking crazy. Like, that was the first time I went to a movie theater, and actually, like, the audience screaming made shit scarier. Like I had never experienced that before, where like you're kind of freaking out, and then like some like girl from like across the room just like fucking screams, and that scares you, and then like hella other people start yelling, and then the scary thing happens on screen and everyone's freaking out. It's just like a powder keg. It was fucking crazy. Yeah.
I would say, as being in middle school, watching Saw, the very first one was just gory as shit. Like I personally haven't seen anything like it, and seeing like all the traps and stuff was like really cool. Um, but of
Yeah.
course, they milked that series dry. The nipple is hard and has fallen off. Um, but yeah, I would say, yeah, I guess say those.
I feel it. Quinn, what about you?
Um, yeah, I guess I would say The Shining would have to be on there. Um, Maybe Night of the Living Dead
What about
from
House on a
back in the
Thousand
day.
Corpses?
It's metal, but no. And um, something more modern, like a more modern release. Probably, I don't know. I really liked Midsommar a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that.
Oh
Like,
yeah, Midsummer.
Midsummer is
Yeah.
fucking insanity. That crazy. Oh my god. Whew.
But actually, you know what? Also, what I would include, there's a movie from the '80s that I really love called The Hitcher.
Never heard of it.
Oh man, it is awesome. It's about a kid who's I think it's been years since I've seen it. I think he's either it's C. Thomas Howell who plays it, Ponyboy from The Outsiders,
Oh.
and he's on his own basically, and he's traveling across the American Southwest, and he picks up someone for a ride, and it turns out to be Rutger Hauer from like Blade Runner and stuff, who played the android,
Yeah.
and he pretty much starts tormenting this kid, like torturing him, following him on his road trip, and they end up running into a girl. Classic slasher movie, but it's fucking awesome the way it's set up, and it's just a good time.
Is it like Point Break in its
No,
type of film,
not
like
at all.
cinematography wise?
No,
Because they're
not
both
at all.
80s properties. That's why I was like,
Nah, no, I wouldn't say that. But you know what? The thing I love about Halloween is that you can watch kind of like offbeat scary movies that are more so funny
Yeah.
than scary movies. And one
Yeah.
movie I always watch around Halloween is one of my all-time favorite movies, starring Kevin Bacon, and that's called Tremors.
They got a new one on Netflix.
Oh, I know. They're always coming out with horrible new ones for this series, but the first one is a timeless classic.
Yeah.
What is
For sure.
plot? Walk us through that. Or maybe just
The
the
plot is-
synopsis.
The plot is really simple. Kevin Bacon and his homeboy are they just do small time jobs around this town in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then for reasons I can't remember, but they're abrupt, and you just kind of accept them. There are these giant worms underneath the ground,
Yeah.
and they're sensitive to like vibrational movement on the surface, so like footsteps, cars going, anything like that. And these giant worms just torment this little fucking town. Kevin Bacon and his homeboy have to save the day.
Yeah.
And timeless classic.
I remember you made me watch the trailer when we worked at UPS together, and I was just like, this looks like the biggest waste of time ever.
No, it's fucking amazing.
No? Okay.
That's a classic, man.
All right.
That's
I'll have
that
to
is a
give
classic.
it a chance.
Right. If there was a closers film festival on this weekend, Tremors would be playing.
The Closers Film Festival. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys would consider it scary. I mean, it has some little jump elements in it, but I like the remake of The Hill Have Eyes back in like 2000.
Oh yeah, I remember watching
Something.
that
Yeah.
on like a church bus trip with my buddy Jacob.
That was like, when did that come out? Like
2004.
yeah,
2005.
Yeah, something like that.
Like early 2000s. Yeah.
I just personally like that one.
I think from 2000 to 2010, I think is one of the softer years in horror movies.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, you got the new Saw. The original Saw was pretty great, and you got The Ring, pretty great,
Yeah.
and Hostel, pretty great. But outside of that, man, I feel like there's some more duds, more misses than hits in the 2000s,
Yeah.
the first
I
decade.
mean, you do have. This isn't a good movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a like kind of cornerstone type of movie in terms of just like setting up, like taking the gore factor to the next level, and that's Human Centipede.
Oh yeah, that was gross.
Yeah, that movie is fucking ridiculous. And
Right.
like also the whole found footage craze popped off in the 2000s, so like Paranormal Activity. I know it's not a
Right.
scary movie, but Cloverfield is definitely one. It's the first one.
Cloverfield's all right. The first one's all right.
Yeah, it's better. When I was like 8 and watched it, it was better then. But yeah,
It definitely holds up more as a product of its time.
yeah, definitely. But one movie that I'd be remiss to not mention is The Crow. That movie is gangster as fuck.
Brandon Lee?
With Brandon Lee. That movie is gangster as fuck.
But is it scary? Does it fit in the horror genre, do you think?
Maybe not horror, but like you said, where it's one of those things where it's not like around this time of year, you might watch movies that aren't necessarily scary, but they do kind of fit the vibe, the theme,
Fit
of
the
Halloween.
mood.
I think The
Yeah.
Crow is definitely right
I would
there.
say so.
I mean,
I would say
they
so.
die on Halloween, right? Him and his girlfriend, they get like in the beginning of the movie, like they die on Halloween.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, well, yeah, but yeah, that movie is fucking great. I love that movie. Great times.
Do you know, is there actually like any legit shitty one that you'll be watching this year?
A shitty movie.
You ever seen Phantasm?
No.
Never heard of that.
What's that?
Oh man, it's a pretty bad one.
A bad one.
But it's yeah, but sometimes like bad horror movies are absolute classics like Phantasm.
Okay. There's a lot of early 2000s horror movies that are pretty fucking terrible that I like will watch and just laugh about.
I remember when the Sci-Fi Channel every Saturday
God.
would have a weekly movie that came out.
Yeah, me too.
I remember watching the
Those were
Sasquatch one when it came out.
Yeah.
I remember the Sabretooth one where a saber-toothed tiger just abruptly showed up and started eating people on a trip.
Those movies were so bad. I remember. Wait, in that movie, did it start out with a ski trip and there was like, they like got stuck on the gondola thing or like the whatever the fuck it's called, like the thing.
I can't remember.
The thing that takes you up. Like there's a group of people that got stuck on there, and so they're like, okay, like one of the dudes is like, all right, I'll jump. And he fucking jumps to try to get help. He breaks both of his legs, and then like a saber tooth comes, and that's the first time you see the saber tooth, and it's just like antagonizing the people that are up there, and like that movie.
That
was
doesn't sound familiar, but it might be it.
Oh, that's the one I watched from Sci-Fi. That movie was ridiculous.
I say one movie that since a kid I was like really hesitant on watching was Hellraiser, and then I watched it as an adult, and it was like, yeah, this is not it, Chief.
Hellraiser is kind of boof. It's kind of dumb. Like it's
man,
kind
that's
of
that mid pack.
Yeah, I do like Donnie Darko.
What,
Donnie Darko is a good Halloween movie too.
Yeah. Is there can you think of a horror movie that is generational? Something that
Transgender.
stands.
I'm about to say
I was like, I cannot.
You got me there, bro.
Transgenerational.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like something that sticks out.
Yeah, of course. The Exorcist for sure. 100%.
Oh really?
Easily.
I feel like the Exorcist lost some steam with me over time.
Maybe because you've had to watch it multiple times, or because it's talked about a lot. But I feel like that movie can be watched at any point, any year, and it's gonna kind of resonate with some people. Poltergeist too is another one.
I thought Poltergeist was okay.
I never found Poltergeist scary to me.
Yeah,
when I was
it was entertaining, but it didn't scare me.
It's one of those things, though. It's like, do you mean like it's gonna scare people? Because I remember watching Poltergeist when I was a kid, and it scared me then. I feel like that's where a lot of horror movies like really like stick in people's minds, is when you were a kid and you watched it when you weren't supposed to, or your dad fell asleep with the TV on and you were there just watching a show that comes on.
Woo!
Yeah. Like the X-Files theme song still fucking creeps me out to this day. Even though like I was like a little kid and I watched one episode of X-Files, it freaked me
Dude,
out.
Fox Mulder was my hero growing up. I loved the X Files.
That show was crazy. But I would say timelessness sticks, like it's inherently tied with the youth. Like, will young kids still get scared of this in 20 years? And for me, yes. Like, The Exorcist will scare kids at that point. Even though technology will have advanced and, it still will stick it for sure.
What about, let me ask you this. What about Jaws?
I don't think it still have that same effect. I don't know. For
For
certain people, sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think Jaws is pretty scary.
I think it was scary.
Scarier in concept. I mean, obviously the shark effects don't hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell it's a giant mechanical shark in a swimming pool, but the concept of it to me is horrifying.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. To pivot a little bit, do you guys have any like scary like stories that you have from maybe your childhood or anything kind of like creepy that happened when you were little? I have one. I can start if you guys need some time to think.
Yeah, go ahead. Knock it out.
So I was chilling in I'm pretty sure I've told this story on this pod before. I don't remember if I have, but whatever. I was in my living room playing with a bunch of my Star Wars action figures when I was like 7. And I had them spread out across the table and was just playing with them. And it was like noon. It wasn't nighttime or anything. It was noon. And it was just me, my mom, my little brother in the house. My little brother and my mom were in the kitchen. And my mom comes into the living room. Is like, hey, it's time to eat. I made you lunch. So I go into the kitchen with my mom. And we eat. And I go back to play with my action figures. And all my action figures are standing in a straight line on the table. And my mom and my little brother were with me the entire time in the kitchen eating, and there was nobody else home. And that's like the only time that anything like that's ever happened. And I even called my mom over. I was like, did you do this? Did you put them all in a line? She was like, no. And my brother like couldn't really like get out of his we had to put him in a chair at the time so he could eat. So he wasn't even able to get out of that. So it was just like, what the fuck? To this day, I have no idea what happened, but it was pretty creepy. Pretty creepy shit.
I would say one for me was when I was back in college, and I was staying with my roommate Cedric, and we would always prank one another, just do the most random shit. And I remember one morning, it was around maybe like 5 or 6 a.m. I had sleep paralysis, and of course I couldn't move. I opened my eyes, but for some reason I could move like my left hand. So I open my eyes, I look off to the left, and I can clearly see my room. But then I look forward, and at the end of my bed, there's a dark figure, looked like a human, like standing there, but I couldn't make it out. So I'm thinking it's my roommate just fucking around with me. But for some reason, I can move my arm, and I could go like this, like I see you. And then I just fell asleep, right? So later that day, I get up and I go up to my roommate, and I'm like, yo, Sid, what was you doing in my room this morning, bro? Like, what's up? He was like, what? I was like, yeah, I saw you at the end of my bed. You were standing there looking at me. He was like, man, no, the hell I wasn't. I was like, bro, stop bullshitting. Yeah, you was. He was like, nah, I put this on everything I love. If I could touch a Bible right now, that was not me. I'm like,
oh, Jesus.
All right.
Yeah, that's scary. That's freaky. Damn. What has that happened since to you? No. Wow.
But I will say another situation was this was back in 2015. Before I went to the University of Louisville, I was staying with a buddy of mine in Louisville, and his basement was like remodeled. Whoever stayed there before remodeled the basement and turned it into a full-fledged studio. So as soon as you go down the steps, that's where, you know, a band could hook up their stuff. The next room over was like soundproof foam everywhere on the ceiling, God, everywhere. And it was another room. So they turned the first room into a bedroom, and I stayed the night. It starts thunderstorming, and I wake up around like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But here's the thing. So and whenever I sleep, bro, I sleep.
Yeah, right.
Like nothing wakes me up. I slept through huge quakes. I slept through huge thunderstorms that rattled houses. Like, yeah. So something hits me in the back of my head and wakes me up. Clearly here. Bop. I open my I take a second, I open my eyes, dude, and I look up. I can see the room clearly. I look up and there's nothing there. It's just pitch black in the basement. And then I say, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm going back.
Dude, a ghost smacked you upside the head.
Go for me, bro. Like,
Wake your bitch ass up.
Yeah, dude. He's like, bro,
ain't been
get
the
out of
same
here.
since, man.
That's hella funny. Damn. Hell assertive ass ghost. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, bro. I guess he was thinking like, yeah, that's my bed. Like, get out of here, son.
Quinn, do you got anything?
Kind of, sort of. I have different instances. I'll say one of the scariest moments was something that was of my own fault. Stupid on my own end. When I was living in Nebraska, there's a route that went around Lake Maloney. And I was going around this route, and
Right.
and there's this guy in front of me with this this trailer, and he was just creeping, just taking fucking forever, going slow. And so for the entirety around the lake, I just rode my arm out the window, flipping him off. And so then we get back to the highway, and he shows his first burst of speed, and then he pulls off, and then he gets out and he grabs a shotgun and he starts walking to my car. And I just out onto the highway, just
Damn, son.
so I learned a valuable lesson that day.
Don't flip people off while you're driving.
Yeah. Don't be an asshole on the road.
Yeah.
There were other times, like for example, I used to live out on Dawson Springs Road, out near the old Sneakin' Fork elementary school in Kentucky and stuff, and that elementary school is haunted in itself. But where I lived on Dawson Springs, my room, the back window faced out onto this big pasture. There'd be cows and stuff. And I believe this was a house we were living in. We were renting at the time, like paying the rent.
Yeah.
And you would just hear all kinds of crazy animal noises, like animals being eaten, like foxes and stuff, like just ripping other animals to shreds.
Yeah.
At least I thought it was foxes. Sometimes I would think it was like aliens.
Damn.
But I was also like 8,
That's creepy.
7 at the time.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
There's also an instance where like I was at my cousin's spot in Gracie, and they were all in the room, and they're like, "Quinn, go make popcorn." So I went to go make popcorn, and then I turned around and I saw like a strange man's face looking in through the window in at me while I was making the popcorn. That freaks me out because we were out in the woods out in the middle of nowhere, Gracie, Kentucky. And so I like ran into the room and I told my brother, and then he walked out. He was like, "It's nothing." And that was it.
What if there was an actual dude that was just there? Just like
Possible, man. Possible.
That's
like
freaky.
Out there, you know, you're getting towards the cut when you get towards like Gracie and Cerulean.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of, you know, strange happenings that go on out there.
Some sussery.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah.
I never know like how much of it was a child's imagination and then how much of it was legitimate. I mean, I've also had scary times running in with like the police and stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's very
So
That's very current of you to mention. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, I will, if you guys don't mind, I will share the most recent scary thing that happened to me. And Quinn, I told you this story. Terrell, I'm not sure if you've heard this, and I might have said this on a previous podcast too, but I'll say it again. I recently went down to Joshua Tree with some friends, and me and my homie from here in Sacramento drove down to pick up his girlfriend in Pomona, and then from Pomona we were gonna go to Joshua Tree. So we go to Pomona, we pick her up. We're driving to Joshua Tree. Everything's going fine. We're chilling. It's like maybe 8:30 at night. It's dark, and we're in the desert, so there's not many street lights. It's very just 2-lane road or 1-lane road, small town feel. And we have Google Maps telling us where to go. And we're following the Google Maps, and we're not really paying attention to the GPS. We're just like, okay, it's telling us where to go, whatever. And it tells me to go down, make a left into this like neighborhood, but this neighborhood of houses and like trailers, very spread out from each other. So you might have a house, and then literally like 100 yards away, there's another house. And then 100 yards after that, there's another house. So everything's very spread out. But nonetheless, it's where people live. So we drive down, make a left onto this road, and I'm expecting to see the house from the Airbnb ad that my friend sent me that we were going to be staying at. I don't see a house that looks like it, but the GPS is telling us that it's the right way. And then it tells us to make a right. And I look to my right, and this road that it's telling us to go down says private property, like, don't go down it. But I was like, but we're staying at an Airbnb, which is technically private property. So, like, I'll just drive down the fucking road. So we drive down the road, and we drive by this house that I thought was our house, but it wasn't. And all of a sudden, we drive by this house, and what, like, a car headlights just turn on as we pass. And I was like, this feels weird. And my friends started freaking out. And so I keep driving. The GPS is telling me to keep driving. And then it tells me to make another right. And it's not even a road. It's literally like a dirt path. I have to make a right onto this dirt path. So I make a right onto this dirt fucking path in the desert. I'm literally like driving like over cactuses and shit. And we stop in the middle of this desert on this random property. There's this little like house in the middle of nowhere with like a bunch of tires out in front of it. And there's no lights except for my headlights. And there's a bunch of bricks and tires just like stacked up in front of this house. And then Google's just like, you've arrived. And we were like, no, this is not right. And I like got my phone. I checked Airbnb to make sure that the address was right. The address is right. I was like, this is fucking weird. So I call my friend who's already at, we were meeting up some other friends, and we had some friends that were already at the place we were supposed to be at. And she was like, no, dude, like, you guys went to the wrong spot. Like, there really is a place. Like, we're here. And then headlights just like appear in my rear window. And my friends are screaming at me to turn the car around. So I turn the car around, and this like beat up ass fucking maroon van just pulls up right next to me. So I'm facing the exit from the way we came, and he's facing like towards the bricks and the tires. And this like bald skinhead looking dude like rolls down the window. I roll down my window. He's like, are you looking for the Airbnb? And I was like, yeah. He's like, are you with Brittany? I'm like, no, I'm not with Brittany. I think we took a wrong turn. We're gonna go just find our friends. I'm sorry for bothering you. He was like, yeah, go find your friends. Just like no expression in his face, just dead. And I was like, okay. So I rolled up the window, and we fucking booked it out of there. And then we rerouted my phone to the same address. I just typed it in again, and it took us to a different place. Took us to the right place. That was pretty freaky. That like left a real that like for us three that were in that car, that left like a really weird aura over the entire rest of the trip. We still had a good time, but it was just like that. Like I don't know. It's just like, have other people made the same mistake, and like did they go missing? Like, are people in that little house in the middle of the desert? Like, what the fuck is going on? So
I mean, obviously, he asks, were you looking for an Airbnb? So definitely not the first time people have been routed that way, I would say.
yeah, but it's just weird how Google was just like, you've arrived, and you're just literally staring at in front of this like abandoned little casita in the middle of the desert, and it's just like, yeah, I don't think we're here. It was just such weird imagery, such weird circumstances. It made the hair on the back of my neck stand the fuck up. I was totally blindsided by that situation, but pretty crazy. Pretty fucking crazy.
I have a like another scary kind of like, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Me and a group of friends had went to. This is my first time. This was back in like 2010. We had went to a huge haunted house in Nashville. And of course, larger cities they have like huge main attraction kind of haunted houses. So, first time ever going to one of those, and maybe like a couple other people it was their first time. So everyone else who had been to one was like, all right, so for those it's their first time, to each haunted house we go to, one of you guys have to lead the pack. So I was like, all right, we went to one called Monster Mountain, and I was like, all right, you know what? Fuck it, let's get mine out the way. I'll go first. So we start walking. It's in like this wooded area, and you follow this path, and then the path look like it's going underground. So now it look like you're in like an old mine, like coal mine or something like that. And we're walking for like what feels like 5 to 10 minutes. So, but mind you not that I'm walking slow as shit. So, and I'm already nervous as hell. So we're walking, nothing is happening. No one pops out. So I'm like, you know what? Let's speed this up a little more. So start walking faster.
Yeah.
And still no signs of life. Speed up a little bit more. And as soon as I kick in, some guy just comes out of nowhere, like behind a huge rock. And rawr.
Uh-huh.
My first thing that happened for me, arms just flail out like in punch form, like, and end up punching the dude in the chest. So, it kid you not. So before we even started the thing, they was breaking down the rules of like, don't touch the actors, they won't touch you.
Yeah.
And automatically arms just. I told the dude, I said, "Yo, bro, I'm sorry, fam, I'm sorry," and he just stayed in character, which was surprising. It was like, and I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, that's
worked out.
I could see where the anxiety would come in, and like the instructions would go out the window because you're like walking through and nothing's happening, and you're just like, am I even in the right place? Like, am I getting punked right now? Like, what's going on? Yeah, that's funny.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
It's very Halloween themed. What is your zombie survival plan?
Oh God.
Zombie apocalypse ensues.
Now, first you got to describe what kind of zombies we dealing with. We dealing with some Resident Evil walkers, or we dealing with some Dawn of the Dead running motherfuckers like Usain Bolts?
No, we're gonna go Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead. Okay.
Did you ever play that game?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Left 4 Dead. Oh, those dudes are like sprinters, bro. Like we got.
There's witches and barfers.
Oh man. Yeah.
Nah. We'll say Walking Dead classic zombie.
Okay, all right.
Classic zombie
okay.
Walking Dead. So you also got to also worry about like people and stuff.
Okay, fucking cannibals and stuff.
I don't have a plan. I don't know. I'm sitting it out. I'm curious. I'm curious what you guys would think.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Terrell.
First, I think I would
This
Well, damn,
happens where you are.
damn, bro, and this is horrible because I mean, The Walking Dead happens in Atlanta.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
true. Yeah.
God, it's gonna be a bitch trying to get up out the city. I'm about to say, I would try to at least drive home, which I know will probably be mission impossible.
Mm.
I would
You'd
try.
have to get out. You'd have to get out in like the first 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, like, and I'm pretty sure there's like back roads that I could take, some wooded boondock roads I could take, but yeah, that's probably not gonna be best for me. I'll probably try to meet up with my cousins that are down here and try to reconvene.
Yeah.
How do you think Atlanta would respond to a zombie outbreak? Like the city.
I think it'll be a lot of chaos, man. Black people and scary shit don't go hand in hand. Like, just saying.
Just be pure, just bedlam.
I mean, I don't know, man. I really don't know.
How long before the police turned on the people and just started wiping everybody out? Well, you'd also have a strong military response because the CDC is there.
True.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That is true.
But it didn't save Atlanta from The Walking Dead, and those are like the most bitch ass zombies.
Yeah, and they blew up the CDC. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm about to say I'm kind of like I'm fucked right now. I would at least attempt try to make it back home to Kentucky where my my predominant family is, and squad up and batten down the hatches. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I really don't have like a solid plan.
Yeah.
What about you?
Man, well, let's see. If I'm here in Hawaii, I'm good until I'm not. Until it turns into Dead Island. So as long as we shut down all imports and tourism, we'd be straight. But that would probably not happen. They would get here somehow, some way.
For sure.
So I reckon I'd probably, since I'm on my college campus, I'd probably try to hold out for a little bit. Maybe about a week, 2 weeks on what I can here in my room, what I have to survive. And then hopefully, once the infection had spread enough that it was kind of like dispersed and it wasn't so centralized, I would try to just like explore throughout the city, try to survive a little bit, maybe go into the mountains. But at some point, I'd have to leave Hawaii, so I'd try to commandeer a small ship, something with a motor in it, and then I'd probably try to go to California, and then I would just make my way east.
Just picturing you on a boat, it just reminds me of Zuzu, like Life Aquatic.
Sailing away.
And you gotta hope that you find Double A floating, and he picks you up, because that's like your only hope, in my opinion.
Knowing my brother Double A's proclivities, I'd say he probably spread the virus. He's probably patient zero. Yeah, that's probably what I would do, and then I would probably try to go to Nebraska. I'd go somewhere where it gets real cold in the winters.
Yeah, I'm about to say, would you try to like head north instead of heading east?
I would head east to see if I could meet up with my brother and my peoples.
Word.
Maybe we could work out some communication where we could meet up in the town and then head north.
Dude, that's a long way though, from California to Kentucky though.
From Hawaii to Kentucky, that'd be legendary.
Dude,
that'd be a legendary voyage. That's why I would have to do it, because if I made it, I'd be like Frodo Baggins.
Yo, that would take you. Yeah, that would take you like 3 years. That's crazy.
Oh, dude, it would be insane.
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
It'd be pure chaos. I mean, think about where could I land on the California coast to avoid large populations?
You'd
probably try to.
You'd have to go up north to Humboldt.
Oh, I know. Oh, and then head south.
Shit. Oh, you'd have to go through the redwoods, bro. Oh no, hell no.
Through Muir Forest.
No, dude. If I
that'd be horrifying.
If I were you, I would get to Cali and just just set up shop up north and
dude,
just.
I would try to go somewhere either just north of Monterey or south of Monterey.
Why Monterey?
because it's big enough to have like supplies and stuff where I could re-up, and it's kind of isolated. It's kind of self-contained, so maybe people had spread out enough.
Yeah.
And the terrain is, it's mountainous,
Yeah.
so not easy for zombies to climb.
Yeah.
So hopefully, as long as I could make it in Monterey and then get out, I would just try to. Plus, it'd be more of a straight shot to Sacramento.
Yeah.
Maybe I could meet up with you and we could join plans since you seem to not have one. But you need to have one. So, Marco, zombie apocalypse happens. Sacramento, Elk Grove. It hits you this weekend, Halloween weekend.
Oh,
Bang,
dude.
bang.
What do you?
What
do you do?
I'd probably.
Do you hole up or do you?
Well, the thing is, like,
escargot?
it depends on my family because I live with my parents, so I'd have to see what they feel and what happens, and if any of them are infected, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know what.
How do you think their reaction would be? Do you think they'd want to hole up, or do you think they'd want to go?
I think they wouldn't really know what to do either, and they would be freaking out. I think everyone would just be freaking out. Nobody would know the right course of action. But
what would be your desire?
I would want to just I'd want to go to the coast and stay on the coast.
Whoa.
Because
Interesting.
Because if you the way I'm thinking about it is like, I live in Sacramento, which is very sneakily very Republican and very conservative.
Very true that. There's going to be bullets flying everywhere.
And also they're going to have the tendency to want to go up into the hills and go up into the mountains. So the way to to Tahoe and the Sierras, oh dude, it's going to be packed. Everyone's going to go that way.
It's going to be pure chaos in the valley.
So like me and my parents would probably hold up in the house for as long as we
Valley
could.
Of death.
And then
to the looters started taking other people's homes.
Yeah, and then once like that stuff started happening, we'd have to fight our way. We'd have to fight our way to We'd have to fight our way to the coast.
You already know who I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I can see him out on the corner defending his keep.
Like the dude in what's that one?
And Walking Dead with the stick.
What's that one game from like? It's like the first game from Xbox 360. It's like you're in a mall and there's a zombie.
Left 4 Dead.
Dead Rising.
Dead Rising.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in the beginning of Dead Rising when you're flying in on the helicopter and you look down and like a dude's like with a broom like hitting a bunch of zombies on top of a
It'd
truck.
be like that.
And then he gets like overrun and it's just like, that's what I picture. But
all right, so let's say, so do you hole up in the house? Does La Familia Alvarado hole up in the house for 2 weeks? Get a 2-week
probably
incubation period.
We would see how it goes because I don't know what our neighbors would be doing. Because if we see that a lot of people are leaving, we got to do the opposite. Right. Like wherever people are going, we cannot go that way. So it's very much like, because the way I see it, zombies don't do well in water with water. So if you
have the American River to one side, so that's
true. The way I see it though is if you're on the coast and you're able to find some fortification, you already have one side of your fortification like that you don't really have to worry about because you're literally, it's just ocean. So you have it makes your job easier because it's just 3 sides you have to kind of cover at that point. So I think that's where we'd go. But if tragically I'd lose my family, that becomes a different story. And I'd basically probably go up north and just like find a way to survive like in the not the wilderness, but like a place like Arcata or Humboldt, up there. I would want to be as away as possible, but I'd wait.
Where it's damp and stuff?
I'd wait a while though, because I know at first everyone would be trying to get out that way. Not many people would make it because there'd be so many people in one area trying to go. So I would wait for like a month or 2 and then like survive here and then go out once it's safe.
What route would you take? I would want to get out of the valley as soon as possible. I feel like it would just break up into different districts of warlords and there would just be chaos and battles and wars.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I mean, it is very Halloween-esque for sure, but I don't know.
Because if you don't go through the valley, then you'll go through fucking the near woods and stuff, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing about a plan. It's a great thing. You can always change it. So I don't know, but that's just off the top of my head, off the dome. That's what I came up with. But it looks like we're at right about at time for this part. So Terrell, before you go, is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to plug real quick?
No, not at the moment, man. I would just say, but okay, well, I will say, just tell everybody, just keep your eyes and your ears open for another episode of the Let It Breathe podcast. And for music, on my SoundCloud, and I will be putting links, all over the place, like it's some sort of adware.
Sweet.
But other than that, no.
And where can we find your podcast? Is it on Spotify and stuff?
It's on YouTube. It is on SoundCloud, and is on audiomac.com. Sweet.
Perfect. Cool, man. Well, thank you again for coming on and partaking in the festivities with us.
Oh,
it's always a great time.
Without a doubt, I appreciate you guys having me on again, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, man. All right, so
Thank you.
Next up, we got me and Quinn talking about the Week 8 of the NFL season, games of the week, and then our weekly recommendations to close out everything. So here that is. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that chit chat with Terrell Tucker, our very good friend of the pod. And now it is time for Week 8 games of the week for the NFL season. And Quinn, we're already halfway done with the season. Before we get into games of the week, what's your takeaway from the season so far?
Well, I'm thrilled that football is back. I'm thrilled that we're able to have this season.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that. It brings a sense of normalcy to what was a abnormal year. I think, some trends are continuing and some things are starting to change. The dual threat quarterback is becoming the new currency of the league.
Yeah.
I think we start solid in the early 2000s, and now we're starting to see, we're progressed from infancy to adolescence. And as we keep going, it'll be more and more, it will become the norm.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm grateful that there's a new playoff format. I think it's more interesting to have another team in there, especially as a Rams fan. So, but besides that, I'm just happy football's, happening.
Yeah, me too. I think that everything happening with COVID and how it has affected the NFL game, I'm not going to say it surprised me at all, but the impact scheduling wise is pretty ridiculous. Like the fact that we had a Tuesday night game is pretty wild.
Right. I wasn't mad at it. I liked having a Tuesday night game
instead of a Thursday.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at it.
Really?
Well, there's not really anything happening on Tuesdays.
True.
So to have like a designation for it.
Yeah. I liked the Tuesday too. I didn't mind it. It was a nice change of pace. Especially just regarding my schedule, Tuesdays are generally a little bit more free, especially at the time. The thing is with that game, it started at like 2 p.m. West Coast time, which I was like, sign me up, dude. What? Like an early game? Because usually like Thursday night, Monday night football games, they start at like 5:30 Pacific time. It's like prime time on the East Coast. And that like chops right in the middle of my day. Well, not the middle, but it just like takes up a lot of prime time for my day. Whereas if it starts early and it ends at 5:30, perfect. Then I have the night to kind of eat and like finish up like really quick things that I have to do, like edit the show or whatever. But
right.
Yeah. But regardless, it's been an interesting season, and we'll definitely talk about it more soon. But to jump into week 8, Quinn, what is your game of the week?
My game of the week is Philadelphia Cowboys. Loser leaves home. I don't know if I said that right.
Loser leaves town.
Loser leaves town. Loser leaves town. Hey, the NFC East is perhaps the most trash division in the history of football currently.
Maybe the most trash division in the history of sports. Could be.
Pretty bad. It's overall, it's a dumpster fire. Dak Prescott, we saw his horrific ankle injury. The Cowboys look like, they're not going to be able to recover.
They've imploded, dude. They've imploded.
Philadelphia, Carson Wentz, this is his hot seat year, and so far, he's not been able to put them cheeks on the leather yet.
It might be Jalen Hurts season before we know it.
Right. And then for the Washington Football Club, systemic issues there, as well as just overall improductivity.
Yeah.
On the offensive side, Alex Smith is a feel-good story, but is it going to be a play-good story? Who knows?
Probably not.
This team doesn't even have a literal and metaphorical identity. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
But then you leave out the Giants.
We all leave out the Giants. I mean, they're so easy to leave out.
Yeah.
Their season was emblematic of Daniel Jones's 80-yard faceplant. So actually, I think what's going to happen is, this is my prediction for the NFC East. The prediction for the game, I think the Eagles will beat the Cowboys. We'll say 21-14. But I think the Washington Football Club ends up winning that division.
I think you're right. That actually is what I predict as well.
I think they're good enough on their defensive front to be the shiniest turd out of that toilet bowl of a division.
They have the best defense out of that division, which is crazy to say, given the fact that only 2 years ago, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl with a pretty decent defense, but injuries have decimated that team year in and year out, and it feels like now it's gotten to a point where it's over. And
True that.
So that's your pick for the game?
That's my pick for the game of the week.
What is your what was your pick for the, you think Eagles? You said Eagles
20, Eagles 21, Cowboys 14.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I would probably pick the Eagles too in this game. However, it would not surprise me if Andy Dalton sits out the next game and the third string quarterback of the Cowboys, or Colin Kaepernick.
That would never happen. Colin Kaepernick playing for Jerry Jones, come on.
I know, yeah. But whoever plays for the Cowboys next week, if they light up the Eagles and there's something to talk about, or Carson Wentz just goofs it up and looks like Kyle Bowler out there and throws like 4 picks, and then like
Kyle Bowler deep cut.
That's a deep cut. That's a deep Raider cut. But yeah.
Also Baltimore Raven.
True, yeah. So I don't know, man. I think that it's going to be any game between two NFC East teams is always bound to have some entertainment baked into it, just because they're the most like pushed division by the NFL. They literally push these games down our throats. Nobody wants to see the fucking Cowboys anymore. Nobody wants to see the Giants or the football team or the Eagles. Nobody calls for that. But yet the NFL's here like force feeding us this shit.
Right.
And it's just hilarious that division is the worst division ever. And it's pretty funny. But I'm going to actually ride with your pick, 21-14 in the favor of the Eagles. I think that's a good prediction. That would have been mine as well.
Sick. What about yourself?
For me, my game of the week is the only homer pick for this year for me. I'm picking this game because, honestly, both of these teams are very, very evenly matched, and I think it's going to go a long way in the playoff race in the AFC conference. So it is the Las Vegas Raiders going into Cleveland and playing the Browns, who lost OBJ today. For what it looks like the season. They think it's something having to do with his knee, and it doesn't look good at all. So it looks like they lost Odell Beckham Jr., but then they also lost their running back, not Kareem Hunt, but Nick Chubb. They lost him earlier in the year. And I'm looking at the odds right now, and it definitely looks it's neck and neck. ESPN has the Raiders 51% favorites, as opposed to the Browns being 49% underdogs. So it's very evenly matched. The Raiders today got punked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their own stadium. On the defensive side of the ball, the Raiders are just abysmal. And on the offensive side of the ball, they're good, but they're a very script-oriented offense. If things are going their way according to game plan, they're going to be able to be very successful in that game. And when they have to improvise, and when Derek Carr has to improvise, things go to shit all the time. It's always been that way. So look for that coming into this game. And now flipping it around onto the Browns, they barely, and when I say barely, I literally mean barely beat the Bengals today. With time running down, I believe it was less than like 30 seconds left on the clock, and Baker threw a dime to one of their receivers, who I honestly don't even know the name of. Like they had to go deep into their roster to fill the hole that Odell left, and he threw a pass to one of their receivers. Super pinhole threaded pass to win the game, and that game easily and should have been lost by the Browns. But they're sitting at 5-2. The Raiders are 3-3. The Raiders have a chance to really rebound in this game against the Browns, I feel. Very similar teams. They like to start out running with Josh Jacobs and Kareem Hunt, respectively. And they love to rely on their big receivers, Darren Waller on one side. It was Odell and Jarvis Landry on the other, but now it's just Jarvis. And we do have Henry Ruggs. And to me, it really comes down to the Raiders' defense. If they can step up and rebound, I think that we are going to take this game. But if Jonathan Abram doesn't play, and our starting right tackle Trent Brown, if he doesn't play again because of COVID, it's going to be a long day, and I think the Browns will win it. But we were here to make predictions, so I'm going to stick with my team, and I'm going to predict that the Raiders take this game in a shootout. No defense played in this game whatsoever. I think they're going to win it 38-34. Oh, wow. Raiders take it by a touchdown, and it's just literally the Raiders win the toss and they score right before the half. They score right after the half. That's what they love to do. That's what they did against the Saints, and it wasn't much of a game. That's what they did against the Chiefs, and wasn't much of a game. And if they're able to do that in this game, same thing. So that's my prediction.
I'm gonna go Raiders 32, Browns 24.
Very nice.
With the Raiders stopping them on the final possession.
Oh, you think
the game?
So you have faith in the defense?
I got faith in the defense. So I'm saying the Browns will have the final possession on offense.
Yeah. With
the ability to tie it with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And I think they'll fail because I think Baker Mayfield is a fail. I'm not a believer in Baker Mayfield whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think the talent around him dresses him up to be a better looking quarterback than what he is.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
How long do you think that offense is going to stick together?
The Browns?
Yeah.
I think
seems like people are wanting out.
I think they're going to give it one more season. I think because OBJ got hurt, that gives them the excuse of like, oh, well, we were 5-2 when Odell got hurt, and then it went to shit. So now that we have him back, we'll be fine. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be like that. I think they should blow it up. They should blow it up. That's what they should do. But I don't think they're gonna do that until next season. to give the coach one more year. Kevin Stefanski, I think is his name, right? Is
I have
that
no idea.
who's their coach? Probably
I have
Kevin
no
Stefanski.
idea.
I think it's Kevin Stefanski.
Some poor bastard. Stuck in Cleveland again.
Yeah, he's the head coach of the Browns, Kevin Stefanski. Yep. So.
Well, God save you, Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings last year. Now look at him. So maybe there was something to hiring Kevin Stefanski. I don't know, but that's our talk for the NFL games of the week. Now we're going to jump into weekly recommendations. And Quinn, no weekly rec from you this week. Crazy. First time this has happened.
Well, I mean, I could throw out a movie, but
it's up to you.
Sure. I mean, I'll throw out a movie real quick, just very briefly.
Okay. So let me just do the intro again then.
Okay.
So that is that for games of the week. Now we're going to jump into weekly recommendations. And Quinn, what is your impromptu weekly recommendation?
My weekly recommendation is Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is perhaps the most over-the-top, ridiculous Dracula of all time, and it's overtly perverse and sexual, with a hilarious performance by one of the greatest actors of all time, in my opinion, Keanu Reeves. And I'm not being sarcastic. I think Keanu Reeves is one of the greatest actors of all time.
Oh, sure.
The performance is unique.
Yeah.
The movie itself, visually, it's a really great movie. Wardrobe, settings, makeup, everything is great. Special effects, great. But it's so over the top. It's so extreme. It's so dramatized. I bet it'd probably be amazing on a stage.
With Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman as Dracula, Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves, Anthony Hopkins as Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Dude. So
Tom Waits?
Tom Waits as Dracula's bitch. There's always that one guy.
Oh my god.
The thrall, the vampire's thrall.
What's the movie with Willem Dafoe as Nosferatu?
Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah.
John Malkovich is in it. That's a great movie. That's a good pull.
Is it?
Yeah. Shadow of the Vampire is a fucking dope movie.
Oh my god.
Willem Dafoe plays the actor that played Nosferatu, and John Malkovich plays the insane director who makes the movie.
Oh man, I gotta still watch that movie. I just see stills from it all the time.
It's awesome.
Interesting. Well, thank you for your weekly recommendation, Quinn. Very on brand too for the Halloween holiday that's coming up on Saturday. Two perfect films to watch for the holiday, definitely. My weekly recommendation is a movie as well, but it is not a Halloween themed or spooky movie in really any sense of the word. Well, to a degree it could be, because it has to deal with immigration and deportation and stuff. And that is Yellow Rose, a movie directed by Diane Paragas. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the synopsis is that a Filipina teen must decide whether to stay with her family or leave her small Texas town to become a country music singer. That's not really the synopsis of the movie. That's not really what it's about at all, but that's what they have listed on Google, so I guess we'll just stick with that. But this movie is very well acted by the lead, Eva Noblezada, who actually is very big. She's very well regarded in the Broadway sphere of things, on in theater. And it's funny because Dale Watson actually does the music for this movie. And who, if you don't know who Dale Watson is, he's a country singer and guitarist and songwriter and self-published author who is kind of like one of the old guards in terms of like type of country singer in the vein of Johnny Cash and those types of guys. He's like the youngest of that old guard. And so Dale Watson's in this movie. A lot of like really unknown actors. It's a very independent movie, independent film. But the fact that they do talk about Filipino culture and kind of being a fish out of water in a country that, you know, you grew up in, it's all you know, but you possibly might have to move back to a country you literally don't know, but they call it your home because you were a baby when you were born there and you were brought to America. It's very interesting. It's very timely. And I'm not saying it's the best movie. It's not really like necessarily a good movie, but it's a very sweet movie, and it's a very good time in my opinion. So I would definitely implore you to check it out. It's in theaters now. You could also get it on Vudu for $12.99 if you don't want to leave your house. So that's my recommendation. Yellow Rose, directed by Diane Paragas. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have heard of it.
What have you heard of it? Like, have you heard good
Nothing,
things?
nothing more than what you've just said.
Oh, okay.
I haven't looked too deep into it, but I have seen like little things about it and stuff here and there.
For sure.
But I'll take your word for it. If you say it's worth the check out, then I would second that and probably check it out myself.
Yeah, it's worth a check out. Don't expect Oscar-winning performances or anything, but for an independent film, that was released during the pandemic, you can't really do worse than this movie.
Right.
It's a good movie. I mean, I keep saying it's not good, and then it is good. It's a decent movie. It's worth your time. So check it out.
Sounds like it'd be the excellent double feature to another release that came out this weekend, Borat 2 subsequent movie film.
What a pairing these two movies would be. Yeah. I mean, do it. Double feature it this upcoming weekend. If you're not really in the Halloween spirit, but you're all up for costumes, Sacha Baron Cohen dresses up as a Slavic
Kazakh
man,
reporter.
yeah, Kazakh reporter, and then you have a Filipina girl who loves to sing country music. Dresses like a cowgirl in certain parts of the movie. Perfect kind of pseudo Halloween films in terms of just people dressing up as things that they're not. So there you go. Happy Halloween, people. Hope you have a great and safe Saturday night or Friday night, depending on which day you're going to celebrate.
Look out for needles in your children's candy.
Yeah, please do that. Or maybe not even take them out to go trick-or-treating this year. Maybe that would be the more safer thing to do. But regardless, be safe. That has been this episode of the Closers Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Alvarado. Please follow us on Instagram at the Closers Podcast, on Facebook at Closers Podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are the Closers Podcast. Next week, it is the election. Can you believe it, folks? We are here on the precipice of a new era, hopefully. Well, actually, regardless of what happens, it's a new era in America. And we're going to be, hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers. I don't want to confirm who the guests are, but I am hoping, we are very much hoping to get Gabriella Elwell back on the show.
The Queen of Chaz herself.
The Queen of Chaz herself, along with a long-time guest of the show who's been on multiple times but hasn't been on this season yet. The president himself, the future president of the United States, Maxwell Thogmartin, will hopefully be on. He's our usual guest that we have on when we have political content to talk about. So we're hoping to get both of them on at the same time, and we'll be talking about the election and the results. It'll be very politic heavy. So stay tuned for that, because it's going to be a fucking doozy. I already know. I'm going to have to stay up probably till 2 a.m. editing that episode, because the election will happen Tuesday. These come out Wednesday. It's going to be a fucking hell of a night for me. So, yeah, pray for me if you pray, or if you don't pray, which I don't. Send me your good thoughts, your good vibes. That helps a lot. But regardless, Have a great weekend. Have a safe and fun Halloween. And we'll be back at you on Friday with closing out the week and then Hang 10 on Monday. Take care.